So today's topic is drama-free divorce and the question marks. And I've been thinking about this and planning to do this for weeks. I had actually written down notes and I was all prepared. And then I kept not videoing because, I don't know, my face wasn't right or my outfit wasn't right or who knows why. And then I threw my notes into a bag and it's in one of my bags. But let's talk a little bit about how to have a drama-free divorce. And I think it's really important because people say they want a drama-free divorce. People are like, I just want to be divorced and I'm done. But most of them don't mean that. They're not really ready to be done. How do I know? Because they make all the wrong choices when it comes to how to have this divorce be finished. I mean, honestly, the first way to have a divorce drama-free is just to not care. Be like, I'm done. I'll take nothing. I'll leave. Now, am I suggesting that? Absolutely not. But if you come to me and you have so many minute points about what you deserve and what you want, I know from the beginning that this is not ready to be drama-free. So let's jump into how to have a drama-free divorce. Number one, talk to your spouse. Yes, talk to your spouse. Why do I say that? Because what many of you don't understand is that you don't even know if the person is ready for a divorce, if they want a divorce, if they agree to a divorce, or if they will give you what you want, or if they have their own wants or needs. So people will come to me, they're prepared for a divorce, and I say, well, what does your spouse think about this? Is he or she going to sign off on it? And they go, I don't know. You don't know? How do you not know? Well, they've never actually talked to the person. They may have had arguments. They may be living in a detente, sort of in the home where they barely talk to each other. Or sometimes they're not even living in the same house and have not for years. But still, none of them have filed for divorce. And they're not sure if the other person is going to file for a divorce or not. So the first thing you always want to do to have a drama-free divorce is talk to your spouse. Okay, so now that you talk to the spouse and you let them know I'm thinking divorce or you thinking divorce, because that's good to know. I need to know if I'm going into an uncontested divorce situation or if there's going to be a fight. You need to know that because unless you have oodles and oodles of money, you want to understand how much you'll be paying your attorney, and I want to give you a fair estimate on what it should cost. The next thing for a drama-free divorce is deciding what you want. Now, what I mean by that is, what do you want as far as household? Do I want the house? Do I not? Do I want certain things? Do I want certain belongings? Do I need to have the washing machine? Was that China given to me by my great-grandmother and I need that? Is it about custody? Do I need to have a 50-50 custody arrangement? Should I have primary? Should you have primary? Who gets the vacation house? What are the things that are most important to you and why? You know, what are the things you need? So first, you have this drama-free divorce. You have to talk to your spouse, and then you have to decide what you want. People will come to me, and they will have no idea. And I say, well, are there retirement accounts? Well, yes. What are we going to do about that? Well, sometimes one person has not worked for a number of years, so the other person can build up their retirement, so they need a share of it. Sometimes they go, we've both worked our own jobs, and quite frankly, I don't want his, he doesn't want mine, or whatever the deal is. So you want to make sure that you know kind of what you want. So think about things like the house, any other properties you may have, the pets, the children, the retirement accounts, stuff. Decide those sort of things. Next, if you really want to be without drama, be prepared to give in and give up. Do I mean that you should lose? No. But sometimes your things that you are holding on most harshly to that are so important to you are not really all that important. If you want a drama-free divorce and the issue becomes something minor, you have to decide, is that minor issue important? So if we are basically having something close to a joint custody arrangement and you want Wednesday night and him to have Thursday night, for instance, but he wants Wednesday night and for you to have Thursday nights, be prepared to give up. If they're sharing the kids anyway, does it matter which one has Wednesday and which one has Thursday? Well, maybe not. It may matter. It may matter because Wednesday is ballet night and you've always been the ballet parent and you're on the ballet board. Okay, then maybe it matters. But otherwise, let's not sweat the small stuff. Let's think. You know, you've talked to the spouse, you've decided what you wanted, and now you're willing to give in and give up on things that are not as important. 4, be flexible with your means. What does that mean by that? It doesn't always have to be the way that you want. So let's say, for instance, you don't want the house. You don't want to live in the house, but you do want your share. Okay, we're back. I forgot to turn on my do not disturb. My kid is going to be like, what's more important than me, the light of your life? Sorry, baby. Maybe she'll call my job because she does that. But what happens next is you may look at, you're looking at things and you've said, okay, I've talked to them. I know what I want. I know what things I'm willing to give up on. Now, how do I get there? So I have this house. I want $50,000 out of it. I don't care whether he gets to keep the house or not. Just give me my $50,000. Why does that matter? So, for instance, I've had cases like that where, let's say he's the one making the more money and he can afford the house. And you're like, listen, I don't want that big old house anyway. I want a smaller house. It's reasonable that I can pay for. Fine. But he wants to move his new girlfriend in. He wants to keep the house himself. No, we need to sell this house. This house needs to be sold. We could spend a year litigating over whether or not the house should be sold, when really you could have $50,000 in your hand in 2 months because he refinanced and got you your $50,000. You have to learn how to be flexible with the means. It doesn't have to happen the way you want it to happen for you to get the result that you want. And you have to allow us to talk about how to get to the right result, even if it doesn't happen the way you mean. So if you want less drama in your divorce, be flexible with how we get there, okay? So first, talk to your spouse. 2, decide what you want. 3, decide what you're willing to give up on. And 4, be flexible with the means of how to do it. Finally, 5, you have to take the emotions out of it. All the things I talked about really involve you taking the emotions out of it. I've had so many people who were like, I want my fair share, I want this, I want that, I want the other, and they were very adamant about all the things. And I can tell you all the things you can do to really push this divorce and make it last as long as possible, to fight for as many things as possible. But what I found is that when the person who had the most emotional energy in this divorce, where they just, whether they wanted it or didn't want it, whether they're angry with the other person, whether they were betrayed or hurt, when they let go of some of that emotional energy, we were able to come to agreement so much easier. We could come to agreement so much easier because without the emotion, you started to see things like that. All the other things I said before, they made sense. Like, oh, yes, it doesn't matter who lives in the house or who got the house. I just want my money. Or it doesn't matter whether it's Wednesday or Thursday that I get, as long as I get my days with my kids. When you let go of some of the emotions of it, the divorce becomes drama-free in a way that it has never been before. Now, I see a couple people watching. I always love when you guys watch. I really, really wish there were some comments. I think I'd see them, but sometimes I'm not in the right thing. But I love when your comments, because comments are good. So if there's anything else you want to know about drama-free divorces, or if you want to hear some really good stories about drama I've had in divorce, now's the time to interact with me and put something in the comment section so you can hear one of my stories of crazy things that happen in divorces, because I can tell you. But, I mean, that is the basics. You can have a divorce that is largely drama-free. It can happen. And you could have a divorce that takes years and years and years unnecessarily. In fact, that happens more often than not. But your choice and your reactions and how you deal with it, well, that makes all the difference. So I gave it some time. I didn't see anyone typing that they want to hear a really bad story, so I'm not going to give any stories unless you ask for one. If you ask for a story about something, I will tell you. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, sold. So again, thank you for joining me today. And a reminder, if you want a drama-free divorce, begin by talking with your spouse. Step number 1. 2, decide what you want. 3, be willing to give up and give in when necessary. 4, be flexible with your means. It doesn't have to happen the way you want. Be flexible how we get there. And finally, 5, if you let the emotions go sooner rather than later, you can get through all this with less drama. So from Jones & Associates Law PC, I'm Jackie Jones. Feel free to interact with us, and if you want to hear about more topics, just drop a comment in the comment section. I will try to accommodate you. And of course, be on the lookout for our podcast, Jonesing for Justice. Jonesing for Justice is available on all major podcast outlets, including Apple and Spotify and all the rest. So you have a great day. Thanks.